Are you struggling with feeling stuck in your life journey? Does it seem as if the challenges or conflicts that you keep experiencing are on repeat? Healing through feeling could be your new way through to a more satisfying life. Now, here is the host of the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide, Sharyn Nichols.
Welcome, 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 everyone. I am not Sharyn Nichols, but I have the honor and the privilege of introducing Sharyn Nichols and her brand new show, Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols, here on the Inspired Choices Network. Welcome, 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 Sharyn.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is such an honor to be here.
This is exciting. We have been planning this and we've been getting excited and looking at the details and just, isn't it? It's kind of like, well, maybe some people, not for some people, but it's kind of like planning a wedding. You know, it's like, you want to make sure the place settings are right and the music is right and all of it, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking about earlier today, that this feels like a wedding because there's so much attention to detail and it's a one-time thing, although granted this is going to be more than just today, although it's all the excitement and the buildup and then all that I put myself through in terms of, am I making the right decision? So it's so interesting that you said,
we have got so much to talk about. My brain just went right over there. Oh, we can talk about that. We can talk about this. We can talk about that. So this is fantastic. I am the owner and CEO of Inspired Choices Network. And I always get to, if the hosts are interested, I get to introduce them to our network and to the world because we are everywhere. And you can find Sharyn's show now on over 220 platforms. Just type it in. I think she got a little overwhelmed. Just type her title in and you will find her and the brilliance that she's going to be bringing to her show. So I am going to share with you about Sharyn, and then we're going to dive right in because who is this woman, Sharyn Nichols? Well, Sharyn is a licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide in Los Angeles, California. With over 25 years experience in mental health and wellness, Sharyn offers a holistic approach drawing from a number of diverse techniques from the yogic traditions, human design, and evidence-based strategies such as cognitive behavioral therapy. These practices can help clients experience a heightened awareness of their personal signs of stress and to learn tools to help them challenge negative thoughts. Nobody needs any of that right now, do they? No. As a certified Kundalini yoga teacher, she helps clients connect their mind, body, and spirit from a holistic healing experience so that they can learn to connect on their own with their true selves. Sharyn is warm and compassionate. Check, check. She creates environments which encourage her clients to feel all their emotions to facilitate the healing process. She skillfully guides her clients to work through feelings of frustration, anger, bitterness, and more to achieve satisfying, peaceful, and successful lives. As a result of Sharyn's own journey, she has learned to look at life through a different perspective, how to discern what we can control and what we cannot control, and to finally stop living the definition of insanity, i.e. doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life for yourself? Isn't it time to fully feel your feelings, give up the insanity, and finally heal yourself? Well, amen to that. I don't know anybody that couldn't use that. So today we are welcoming Sharyn to her debut show. It's going to be a calming hour away from the busy chaos of your everyday life, a space to reconnect with your soul, reconnect with your heart, and resolve those patterns and triggers that are getting in the way of your forward progress. Okay, so before we dive deeply into so many things that are running through my mind right at the moment, Sharyn, what brought you to this place? I mean, obviously, I know, without specifics, I know that you're following your heart and what really speaks to you, but what brought you to this place? Is this where you started out of high school or college?
No, actually, my undergraduate degree is in business. And so I can absolutely speak to business, which has absolutely helped me so much with a lot of my clients, because can speak to the psychology of business. And had I been able to actually, this was in the 80s, this was just before like organizational behavior, and then the consulting that, business consulting that there's, which is huge now. It had just started. I'd taken all the courses that I possibly could. And had I been able to major in it, I would have. So I worked in radio, and I worked as an assistant talent agent, and I did, because I'm in Los Angeles.
Sure.
That's the industry.
Yes.
Um, and I've had so many wonderful, incredible opportunities, and really it's truly been, of course, hindsight is 2020, looking back and seeing my own ability for my own forward progress, how I have consciously and unconsciously put myself in places of growth. And looking, I also have taught on the community college level. I taught lifespan, and so looking back at my teens, my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and now in my 50s, um, it's just so incredible. Like I wake up every day excited to be me when I did not used to. I spent a lot of my teenage years and my 20s, being depressed, which is really one of the reasons why I decided to become a therapist, because I wanted to heal myself. Because I figured if I can heal myself, so I really thought that going to school was going to give me the tools to heal myself, because always been into learning and wanting to know more, and digging deeper into why I did what I did, why I made the choices I made. Good, bad, and different didn't matter. And so I've been so fortunate and lucky to keep allow myself this opportunity to continue to learn and grow. And so now I get to share a lot of what I've learned. And the biggest thing is I used to love, I still do, love working with a 16-year-old girl, because I could, I understood her. I could communicate with her. And the biggest thing that I got out of working with teenagers is the modeling, meaning that, I wanted them to know that they could feel as horrible as they feel, and be so afraid or not know, or just have so many questions, and then still come out the other side.
Oh, wow.
And
That's huge. I mean, that is huge. I have a young adult daughter, and to say that my beautiful daughter wasn't on a roller coaster of emotions for the last 10 years is well, she was. I mean, a lot. And as a mother, I didn't have that experience as a young adult. I had a very, very different experience. So it was really like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I know that there were a number of times where I was just trying to stop the feelings so that she was no longer in pain. And that's why I'm so excited to hear about the methods that you're going to be teaching us. But to feel the feelings, like, holy moly.
well, I have 3 children myself, and and 100% understand exactly what you're saying. And the biggest thing, like I mentioned, in terms of lifespan, we don't have executive reasoning and functioning, because our prefrontal cortex is not fully formed until we're 25. So at 16, 17, 18, we believe we know the answers, and we are so right because we know.
Mhm.
And then we will have the same thought after 25, and then it goes through a different filter, because we now have the executive reasoning, although we've made the decision and we came to the conclusion when we were 16, 17, and 18. And so it's about discerning, like it's discerning which is the way to go, if that makes sense, in
Yes.
terms of where is the way to go in terms of your decision making process.
Very cool.
So what I get to do is I get to model. And going back to that, and to me, what that means is I just need to be one chapter ahead in the book. My first supervisor, after, when I was an intern and, studying to become a therapist, he said, Sharyn, all you have to be is one chapter ahead in the book. And that's all that matters. And I was like, wow, because I felt as though I had to have all the answers right now. I needed to know exactly what to say. And, and it had to be perfect.
Right.
And I finally got that actually imperfection is perfection. And so just allowing myself to be human, whew, just
Huge.
that took a huge weight off of my shoulders and just allowed me to be me. And that's really ultimately what I want to share with the world and all who are going to listen is that you just get to be you. You get one shot at it. So you might as well be you, because everyone else is taken.
Everyone else is taken. Exactly. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I'm super, super excited. And yet I don't want to go too fast because I want to take in all of the things that you're sharing with us. And I also want to let people know, if you're listening or you're watching from any of our platforms, you can connect with Sharyn at her website is feeltoheal.com, which is brilliant. Mark branding. I love it. The business brain is really happy. feeltoheal.com. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. She's all over the place, and she can definitely be contacted. You can also contact her. Email is Sharyn Nichols. That's SharynNichols at, you guessed it, feeltoheal.com. Let's keep it very, very simple. Okay. Before we go to our break, I want to know, and this may be a really long answer that we might have to break up into two, but I want to know, what's the difference between the traditional marriage and family therapy training that you took and the holistic approach that you have today?
You're right that it's more you know what, honestly, it's exactly who I am. And this is what I was actually talking about earlier. And to prepare myself, I've spoken to a lot of people, and to get me on the track that I know I need to be on, just to get out of my own way. Really, it's about getting out of my own way. So I'm really good with the cognitive behavioral, meaning, I can give you specific tools, specific things to do. Like if you're having ruminating thoughts. I mean, this is the biggest thing. This is the big one. Wear a rubber band around your wrist. Every time you have a thought, you pull the rubber band so it takes you out of it. And so yes, I have a lot of those things in my toolbox. And then I also have spent a lot of time also studying the conscious and the unconscious. And so in terms of what rules me, if you will, with my conscious and then my unconscious. And so it's about bringing the unconscious conscious, which ultimately is about feelings. And it's been about incorporating the two for me. It's been about incorporating the clinical, concrete information with what I call the mystical or the woo-woo, and bringing it together, because to me that's the whole. That's all of who I am. I'm not just one. I'm all of it. So I've spent pretty much the same amount of time studying psychology as I did studying consciousness and oneness, and they've both have added so much to my life. And again, that's why I want to share, because oh my gosh, there's so much going on. And I'm now a student of human design. And the biggest thing about human design, which also taps into this, is that each one of us are unique. And so therefore we're not special, because if you're special, then there's a hierarchy. Someone has to be less than special in order for you to be special.
Ooh.
And so I'm loving the study of human design, because I get to just be me. Like I said before, it, I get to just show up as me, because everyone else is taken.
Right.
So I am unique. You are unique. We are all unique. And isn't that great? We can celebrate our uniqueness.
Brilliant.
And to me, that's our humanness.
That's awesome. Okay, we are up to our first break, and we're going to give Sharyn a minute to take a breath. And we very well done, Sharyn. You are listening to the brand new Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show here on the Inspired Choices Network with your host, Sharyn Nichols, and myself, Christine McIver. We are going to be back very, very shortly. Stay tuned. Stay right where you are. We're holding lots of the goodies back until the next episode. We'll see you on the other side, my friends.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to Sharyn Nichols at feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this very, very exciting show. And we are having absolutely no fun. Now, if you're not joining us in the chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com and joining us in the recording studio, you're going to be missing out on Sharyn and I chair dancing. And we're having a lot of fun.
We are. At least I am. You know what? I can only speak for myself.
We are having a lot of fun. And this is one of the really cool things about being on Inspired Choices Network is that you get to be present. People get to watch you in the recording studio, interact with you live. And if you're listening to this in the replay, thank you so much for choosing to lean in and hear all about Sharyn Nichols. And she will be live every week at 6 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific. Gotta get that all straight. But you can find her show on demand across both radio and TV platforms. Anywhere you find a podcast, you can also find her on LG TV, smart TVs, Samsung smart TVs, Amazon, Fire Stick, Roku, and Under the Binge Network. So, just Google her because she's very Googleable.
I am Googleable.
I don't know if that's the right word, but it's true. You are everywhere. Now, before we went to our first break, you were saying that one of the reasons you decided to become a marriage therapist is that you could help to heal yourself. So was that did you find that to be an easy journey, or is that a continuous journey? Do you find that there's always opportunities to lean in and learn more about yourself and to heal yourself?
So many, yes. So I was at a crossroads, and I have incredible parents, and my father said, okay, let's do some career testing. So they sent me to career testing at UCLA, because here in California, and I took all these battery of tests, both psychological and I'll go time test managerial, and came back with two options. The first one being a therapist, and then the other one was being a game show contestant coordinator.
That's very specific.
I know.
So you would be a Vanna?
No, I would be the contestant coordinator.
Okay.
No. So no, I would be all the people who came on. I would prepare them. I would talk to them, decide whether they should be on the show. And I did actually look into it.
So wait a second, random question, because this,
Sure.
like our producer Kim said in the chat room, so random.
Uh-huh.
What does a contestant coordinator have in common with a therapist?
Discerning and communicating with people. And it was my people skills.
Okay.
It was about communicating and organizing and drawing people out.
Okay.
Because if they're going to get on camera, much like what you do, so if they're going to get on camera, it's about me drawing them out.
That's very
so
good.
Yes,
So
I know
so you have a
very, very random. It is
you
so
have, you have a fallback career.
I do, or I did. Again, realizing that also would have just been so narrow because it was so specific.
Of course.
And I just knew for myself that I wanted more.
Mhm.
And so I am grateful that I didn't go down that other road, although it would have been a lot of fun.
It would have been.
It would have been so much fun, except there was also just really no there was no upward mobility, really. Where was I going to go?
Exactly.
So, and then I had issues with school, I know a lot of other people do, in terms of my grades never matched my intelligence. I was always better at speaking than actually, taking tests. And so I also saw this as a great opportunity for me to overcome, something that had been with me. And so then, yes, I graduated with honors from my master's program. So thank you. Yeah, it was just, I've always keep putting myself forward and challenging myself. And that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. This was another huge challenge for me that I knew ultimately would be fun. I just needed to start it. I just needed to do it. I needed to say yes. And now I guess we'll do that the other way. I needed to say yes. I needed to start it and just do it.
And just do it. Yeah. It's interesting. And now we have Shannon in the chat room that she's saying, oh my God, that was me, better at speaking than tests. I was petrified to go to college, Sharyn, which is like you have university and colleges in the US as well. I was petrified because I thought there is no way that I am going to be able to make it through. I thought I would just fail miserably. And certainly I was much better at, speaking and so on and so forth than I was at tests or I thought, and came through that with flying colors. And then here we are today. So it's very interesting how so many of us have had that same experience and yet have moved through it. So that's very, very cool. I love that. Now, tell us what is it for you? Like, how do you use, you mentioned human design.
Yes.
So that's one of the modalities that you use from the holistic perspective in your body of work. So talk to us about what is human design for those that don't know what that is, and maybe some of the other holistic modalities that you use in your practices.
Human design is it's a science and a technology. And then what that means to me is it's a great way for me to explain you to you. Um, there there are different types of categories in terms of how one should show up in the world based on, so it's based on four things. It's based on the I Ching, it's based on the Kabbalah, it's based on um, the chakras, and then astrology. So the exact 88 days before you were born, your DNA is encoded with your design. And then the exact moment that you were born, your DNA is encoded with your personality. So one is the mind, and then the other is the body. And so it's just an incredible technology, and I'm in the process of studying it. So I understand I understand a lot of it. And
Right.
the biggest thing is that we've all been conditioned. Once we leave the womb, then the conditioning comes in based on the open centers that we have in our body graph. Again, all human design terminology. And so it's about the deconditioning process. And so what I have now discovered is I actually have been a part of the deconditioning process without even knowing that I was deconditioning.
Mm.
I just now have some words to put to it, or I have, like I said, I have more of the concreteness
Hmm.
that I felt that I needed in order for me to start speaking about it, based on me going to school and getting my license as a therapist.
Right.
It's sort of up there.
That's very cool. So what are some of the other, you said you use, sorry, well, of course, cognitive behavior therapy. I think most people probably know what that's all about. What about Kundalini yoga? How does that come in? That's very,
Well, Kundalini has been getting a bad rap lately. There's been a lot of controversy. I don't know if people know. That doesn't even matter. What I have now taken from it. So I just need to say that. I just need to put that out there. What I have taken from it is it's about moving the energy that is at your root up through your body, through the chakras, and then out through the crown. Because I truly believe we can ground ourselves to Mother Earth, and then we can connect out to the cosmos as infinite beings that we are, as multidimensional infinite beings. So I suppose this is where the mystical part comes in.
mm,
And it's about moving the energy. So it's about, well, with Kundalini, there's mantras, although I don't necessarily use those. I use um, words, language, which basically is a mantra. A mantra is a language, and it's about changing the way you say things
mm.
in order to connect to the root or connect to the cosmos. So it's about being open and grounded.
I love that. I love that. It's interesting when you say, and I'm going to guess, when you say I'm a marriage and family therapist, like your status in life, right? And yet it can also appear cold, right? It's like oftentimes when I hear people's titles, I think, oh, there's a right and a wrong way under that body of knowledge, under that. I just remember speaking to some people that they took it very black and white, like, nope, this is the way it is. And But I love how you're bringing in other modalities that I'm going to guess really complement the information and actually expand upon it in ways that your clients can probably process much easier and make the changes they desire to make with much more ease and a hell of a lot less judgment of themselves.
Yeah, well, I share, like I mentioned before with the modeling, I share a lot of myself when appropriate with my clients. I keep tuning in and making sure that it's never self-serving. Because ultimately, if I'm sitting in front of you, it's about you. Although, like I said, I'm one chapter ahead in the book. So I just refer to where I am and in the chapter ahead. So to normalize and to allow each and every one of my clients, and then also the people I come in contact with, to just be human. Just be human.
We all can be so difficult with ourselves and so hard on ourselves. And
Yes.
the more people out here that are willing to dive into their own stuff and to learn and bring tools to the table to assist others that choose it, I think that's the way to change the world. And that's certainly something that you are doing. That's certainly something that I do, and a number of our hosts here on the network as well. So we are up to our second break of the show already. This is flying by very quickly.
Yes, it is.
So my friends, you are listening to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols on her debut show here on the Inspired Choices Network. We are going to go for our second break of the show. When we get back, we're going to have more questions and we're going to have more insight shared with us from our new host, Sharyn Nichols. So stay tuned, please. We'll be right back.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to Sharyn Nichols at feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Oh my gosh, if you are not in the chat room and in the recording studio, you are missing half of the fun of today's show. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And it's such
dancing.
a pleasure.
It's chair dancing.
It's chair dancing at its very, very best.
Yes, it is.
So you are listening to Sharyn Nichols here on her debut show. I have the honor and the privilege to ask her whatever pops into my mind, any of the questions that come in. But if you'd like to ask us any questions in the chat room, please feel free to do so. And we will definitely share them with Sharyn. Sharyn, tell us about like, what do you offer as under your body of work? What do you offer? Do you offer like one-on-one marriage and family therapy? Do you offer life coaching? Tell us the whole kit and caboodle.
I offer it all. I like I said, I mentioned that I like to work with teenagers. I also love to work with couples.
Okay.
I love to I have a different approach actually with couples. I work with them for at least an hour and a half. So as opposed to the traditional therapy hour, I will meet with one person in the couple for 25 minutes, then the other for 25 minutes, and then bring them together because they each have their own thoughts and feelings that there's been the miscommunication. So I help rephrase and reframe and then use different languaging in order to get their thoughts and feelings and points and perspective to the other in order to share. So I love working with couples. So, and yes, I work with individuals, all ages, sizes, and colors. I I love I what I've said is I love when someone comes in with a sort of that a frown on their face and they walk out with a smile,
Mm.
and I really didn't do very much. They did the work for themselves because the pain pushes until the vision pulls.
Ooh,
And
ooh, I
and
just got goosebumps.
that's sort of been one of my mantras, and actually it's going to be a show.
Stay tuned.
Exactly. The pain pushes until the vision pulls. I mean, that's what the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I spend a lot of time talking about getting off of the merry-go-round,
Mm.
because we all just keep going around in circles and circles. And so I offer working with couples. To answer your question, I work with individuals, and I am, I know I have a master class somewhere in me, and I know that a lot of that will now come from this,
From this
from
book.
me organizing my thoughts.
And doing this. Do you ever work with like a parent and a teenager?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
That's
Yes,
excellent.
yes, I do work with families.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yes, and mostly though, it's still about giving each one their own voice. It's allowing them to discern what actually is going on, because I've heard this before, I'm repeating. The thing is not the thing, usually.
Hmm.
So if someone comes in and is complaining that, um, if a teenager comes in and says, well, I'm really mad at my mother. My mother won't won't let me go to the party. And it's not about not going to the party. It's probably about the fact that mother is afraid that that child will be put into a situation that they can't actually, hold themselves, or, I'm just totally making that up. Although it's not about not going to the party. Although as individuals, we focus on the one thing, which is the not, or the negative, rather than looking at it from another perspective. And that usually is the other person's perspective. Not a question of right or wrong. It's just another person's perspective, because your thoughts and your feelings are always right.
Hmm.
It's then what you do with them. And so the biggest thing about cognitive behavioral therapy, which I do love, is that you have your thoughts, you have your feelings. Those aren't necessarily going to change, nor do they need to. What you have control over is your actions and your reactions. And
Hmm.
so working with couples is, one person has a thought and a feeling, and then there's an action, and then there's a reaction, and an action and a reaction to the reaction, and so forth. And then they end up going down the rabbit hole, and then there's no way to get out.
Hmm.
So what I do, try to do both, is sort of slow down that process and say, well, wait, before you react, what's really going on? Because the thing is not the thing.
I feel like every time you say the thing is not the thing, I feel like I'm listening to a wise, beautiful Dr. Seuss.
and I it's just something that I've incorporated. I've actually heard it. This is not my own thing. I've it's been, here's the biggest thing that I do know about myself. I love what I do. I love helping people. I love supporting humans on their own journey. And I don't necessarily have anything new to say. I have just a different way of packaging it. So So whoever is supposed to hear it from me will hear it from me.
Mhm.
And that makes me so happy, because I know that there's been multiple teachers that I have had that I haven't heard it from them, although they've been saying the same thing. And until I actually got to the right one,
Yes.
if you will, I was able to incorporate it and take it in and own it.
You
So
know, I've been saying the same thing you're saying in a different way. I often will say to, if people will come and they'll talk about having a show on the network, and they will have self-doubt, which is a normal process. And well, what do I have to say that somebody else hasn't already said? And I will say, you have a different energy. You're the way that you deliver, the way the vibration that you are will be an attraction to people that it won't. I could say the same thing that Sharyn says, exactly the same thing. We could read a script, and just the energy that we be will bring people that are able to hear Sharyn that wouldn't be able to hear me, and vice versa.
exactly. See, like I said, I used to believe that I had to have all the answers and I had to be right and that I had to know. And now I'm just so open to the mystery and
Mm.
allowing things to just unfold as they are, as they need to, because I truly do believe that everything is happening for my highest good. I might not always like it. It might not always feel good. Although if I just anchor in and hold for myself that everything is happening for my highest good, then everything is happening for my highest good.
And I would imagine that that's a tool that you actually teach people who are deeply in their feelings, maybe, deeply depressed and even on the edge of possibly suicide, that those
Yes.
feelings are okay to have.
Yes. And that's actually, you know what? I just realized that might not even be in my bio. Although I studied suicidology, I started. So actually, one of the things that came out of me going to the career center was they suggested that I volunteer on suicide prevention center crisis lines to see if I even wanted to be a counselor, see if this would even be something that I would want to do. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. And so I did that. I was on the lines for 3 years, and then I co-facilitated survivor after suicide groups. Those are for people who'd lost people to suicide, and it was so intense. The energy was so intense that actually the reason why I stopped was because I got pregnant, and I didn't want, and I took on so much. And this was before
Be
I
like
learned how to, yes, and this is before I learned how to transmute the energy that I was taking on. And I just knew that me listening to all this sadness and pain was probably not good for my child that I was growing inside of me. So I'm still, and then I was active for many years with it. And so, yes, it's still also a tool in my toolbox.
That's brilliant. Well, and we definitely need people very versed in those areas to speak to others, to support them, and to, let them know that all of their feelings are valid. It's so important. The more and more and more I learn about myself and others, it's the feelings, they're not bad feelings. They're just feelings that are speaking to us in some way. Um, yeah, it's good. This is all so good.
Yes, and so yes, and the thought, and they're just thoughts. They don't have to be acted upon.
They
They're
don't have
just
to be acted
thoughts,
upon.
and we have so
Before
many.
we have a lot. Before we go to break, I'm admiring this beautiful painting that you have with you. Can you explain this painting to us? If you're not seeing this, you need to see this. Please explain
Um,
it to us.
I'll tilt a little.
Oh, how gorgeous.
Yes, it's called Jewel of the Heart, and I know the artist.
Ah,
Um, she unfortunately is no longer on the planet with us, and she's incredible. And this is actually the first piece of art that I bought for myself.
oh my God, that's so beautiful.
And she was a mystic herself, and so there's she there's so many different things. It's very textured. It's not just flat. She put seaweed on here, and there's actually a snake skin right here that
Amazing.
gifted itself while she was in the process of painting this painting.
Wow. And that's a heart in the center there.
Yes, it's a heart, and there's a jewel.
Oh, beautiful. And what is the
And
name? What is there a name to the painting?
heart of the jewel.
Heart of the Jewel. That is gorgeous.
And I'm very heart centered, and going back to the Kundalini, Kundalini is based on 7 chakras. So
Yes.
there's the 3 lower and then the 3 upper, and the bridge is the heart.
Oh,
And which is also represented by the color green. And so the green and the gold are also the colors of my eyes. And when I had my colors done 15 years ago, they told me that you should have a wall that's the color, one wall that's the color of your eyes in your bedroom. So I thought, okay,
I gotta go paint right now. That is so your painting. That is so your painting.
It is. It really is. Yes. And it makes me happy every time I look at it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
We
you.
are up to our final break of the show. This show has gone so beautifully quickly, but we've learned so much about you, Sharyn. This is exciting as can be. We are going to take this break. When we get back, we're going to wrap up with Sharyn. We're going to talk about the next week's upcoming show and anything else that Sharyn has to share with us. So you are listening to the Feel to Heal show with Sharyn Nichols, and we'll be back right after this break. Stay tuned, my friends.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to Sharyn Nichols at feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Oh my gosh, I don't know who has more fun than me. I have such a great time on these shows, getting to know all of these amazing hosts and learning all about people all over the world and what makes them tick and what lights them up and the brilliance that they have to bring to the world. And Sharyn, you absolutely have, some people talk about a toolbox. I think you have a Mack truck full of tools. You certainly sound like you've been gathering and continue to.
That is correct. I do. I continue to, I'm forever a student of myself.
Nice.
Which brings me joy.
That's
that I get to figure me out, and I just get to show up, and I get to bring a lightness. I do know this. I've been told this multiple times about what it is that I do bring. And I am so grateful. Like I said, I'm unique. I get to be me because everyone else is taken. Like I used to always I wanted to be somebody else because I didn't like me. For the longest time, I didn't like me. And now I like me a little bit more. I'm not as mean to myself as I used to be.
Good.
And what I realized is that I'm not the only one who suffers from this.
Yeah.
My mother once told me that she didn't feel it was necessary to punish me, because if I did something wrong, because I did such a good job of beating myself up, that
Oh,
she didn't
dear.
need to pile on anymore. And
Oh,
and
Lord.
I think about that, and it's like she was 100% right. And
Hmm.
so good for her for noticing that, and thank you, Mom, for not punishing me even more.
Thank you, Mom.
And
That's fabulous. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we are hard on ourselves, especially when we have that self-judgment going on and comparing to others. And especially when you're deep in the trenches of our feelings, why wouldn't we want to be somebody else? We want to get out of all those feelings. And yet I know you're going to share with us all the gifts in all of this as we move forward. So next week, your show is called Your Council of Three. Can you just give us a little hint into what that show is going to be about?
yes, it's about your mind, your body, and your soul. And for most of us, we just allow our mind to make all the decisions and not allow our body and our soul spirit to have a say, to maybe make a different decision. We're also focused on, on our minds, and that we know what is right based on our thoughts, when it might not be right for your body. It's just, we spend so much time up here that we forget about all this other stuff.
Mhm.
And so your council of three is: your body is the vehicle, your soul is actually the driver, and your mind is actually the passenger in the back seat. So we're going to talk about not being a backseat driver.
I don't think that I actually had a vehicle or a driver.
You do.
I've only had a backseat driver all this time, or a backseat passenger.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. Okay, well, that's next week.
Yes.
What do you want to share with our listeners as we're starting to close out the show? What do you want us to know about this amazing new journey that you're on the Feel to Heal show? What can we expect going forward that you know so far?
I know that healing is allowing yourself to feeling your feelings of fear and judgment, and knowing that they're just thoughts and feelings, and that you don't have to take them on, and that you can release the blame and the anger and the victimhood that we all find ourselves in, because we're all victims. We are. It's about letting that go, releasing that, so we can live free, happy, healthy,
Mhm.
love-filled lives with peace and satisfaction and success.
Mhm.
And I feel very passionately about allowing everyone to have their thoughts and their feelings, and and I want to continue to be in the conversation about letting go of the things that don't work.
I love that.
Because we all have a lot of things that don't work for us, although we think that they are. So
Sharyn, thank you for showing up.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for showing up on the network. I'm like, okay, I got to put 6:00 Monday nights in my calendar because I am not always here producing every single show, but I am so excited to hear the techniques and the ideas, and everything you've shared so far has really piqued my interest even more. And one of the things that I do purposely, and Sharyn will know this, is I don't ask a lot of questions about what they do, so I get to learn about them as everyone else does. So thank you so much. We are just about through the show. We've just got a few seconds left. Be sure to go find Sharyn at feeltoheal.com. Come back next week. Check us out on the Inspired Choices Network app. Just go Google Sharyn Nichols Feel to Heal and you will find her. Until next week, everyone, have an amazing week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Have an amazing week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show. Sharyn Nichols will return next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, give up the struggle, feel all you need to feel, and make this week your best one yet.